He's gonna make it clear. Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know?
Hello and welcome to the Did You Know Show. My name is Brian Green and today's show is being brought to you by Always Best Care Senior Services. We provide in-home care primarily to seniors, but if you're somebody that has had a hip, a knee replacement, a back injury, if you're recovering from a stroke or battling cancer, please think about Always Best Care first. We're the agency that never, ever, ever sleeps. You can check me out on the radio at 107.9 Classics on 8:30 on Saturdays. And today we are at the Penn's Village, Jewel in the Nile in the city of Philadelphia. And sitting with me today, I have, so far, Lindsay Farrell and I have Mark Raymond. Lindsay Farrell is the executive director of Penn's Village, where she leads efforts to help older adults stay active, connected, and supported as they age in the community in their own homes. She focuses on building partnerships, strengthening volunteer engagement, and fostering programs that bring neighbors together across generations. Welcome.
Thank you.
We also have Mr. Mark Raymond, who has over 40 years as a physical therapist, which gives a keen perspective and understanding of Penn's Village members. He started as a volunteer driver and also joined the program committee providing members with education and socialization events throughout the year that enable them to learn and have fun together. He is a member of the board of directors and serves as secretary. Well, without further ado, let's get to it. We got a lot to unpack here. We have a lot of questions. We have guests. Lindsay, why don't we start with you? Tell me about Penn's Village. Give me a brief overview of the history of the Village movement and Penn's Village and how it serves older and aging adults.
Great, yeah. So Penn's Village is part of a national, actually it's an international movement called the Village Movement. It was started in the year 2000 in Boston. By a group of people that lived in the Beacon Hill neighborhood, which looks pretty similar to some of our neighborhoods here in Philadelphia. Homes that don't particularly seem very good to age in, don't have everything on the same level so that you're navigating going up and down stairs. And looking at the community that they had built, they didn't really want to go out of their home. Nobody really wants to leave their home. But they were looking at what the options were, moving into retirement homes or having to find a family member to, move in with. And we're trying to figure out how do we do this together. A lot of people didn't have people that were nearby. And so they built a model where together, as with mutual aid, they supported each other to stay in their homes, which means having people come and pick you up and take you to an appointment, having people buy groceries for you if you can't get out of the house, connecting with each other. Really, that's a big part of the movement itself. Now, there's 375 villages around the world.
Oh, wow.
We are one of the oldest. We were founded in 2008 in the Society Hill neighborhood and now are across the city from river to river between Girard and Washington. We serve about 480 older adults, and that includes our volunteers. Everybody's a member, to help them stay connected, stay social, age in place, get what they need in order to do that. My role is just to facilitate that because actually we're really volunteer driven. We have 130 volunteers. 60 of them are actually paying village members that have joined the village to receive services, are also in the process of giving back.
Wow. So what are the programs and services you offer members?
Yeah, so we have basically, like I was saying, there's members that come, volunteers that come, and their whole goal is to help an older adult age in place. That means they provide services like companionship, many, that's like our largest service, is that people have somebody that maybe comes and plays chess with them or takes them to the farmer's market every Thursday, really provides a companionship connection. But services also include, like, there's a guy that's a handyman. There's a person that who may come and help you downsize some of the stuff in your house, or help you organize yourself for taxes, or take you to a doctor's appointment. In addition to that, which is our, really kind of our reason for being, we have what Mark is going to talk about, which is we had 80 programs last year, programs that are really provided by village members. They are stuff that they are passionate about, that's a hobby, that's an expertise, and they happen here in this building or around the city. We have special interest groups. People will say, I want to get together with people and talk about history books. So we have a history book club.
Oh, wow.
Or we have a walking group, or we have, you know, a variety of different, there's a group that's literally just called the chat group. They get together and they chat about whatever they feel like chatting about. But we're really hoping to facilitate people to have a reason to get out of their house, to have a reason to connect with each other. And I think I hit most of it.
Do you guys do
Yeah.
art? Are you bowling around here? Do you have a bowling league or?
No, I mean, honestly, what we tell people is if you have the idea, we will help facilitate you to get members.
Okay.
And then we're not a senior center that's like organizing social events. We are facilitating our members through this continued ethos of mutual support and mutual aid to come up with ideas, and then we help them get them together.
Got it.
So we could have a bowling league.
Well,
we could have a art program. Yeah.
We'll put that in the parking lot. as
Okay,
they say
great. In
corporate
the
America.
parking lot.
What are the costs of belonging to Penn's Village, and do you have stipends for those who need some financial assistance?
Yeah, so it is, we have 3 tiers of membership, and again, like I said, volunteers are members too, so they are members for free. But there's 3 levels. So folks that are coming in that want the most amount of services, that are really seeing that they are going to try to stay in their home as long as possible, but there's some challenges. They come in, they pay $600 a year, but they can get up to 3 services a week.
Okay.
They can call us and ask for a ride to an appointment and somebody to pick up groceries and a companion all in the same week. And so those are the folks that are really looking for like the most gain. Then we have a level called Neighbor, and
Okay.
neighbors pay $200 a year.
Okay.
Neighbors are able to join special interest groups or start special interest groups. They're able to come to all of our social programming, and they have access to a preferred provider list, which has been crowdsourced. Like preferred provider, like people to, do repairs in your home, or doctors, or, variety of services that you might need. That has been crowdsourced by our community, that neighbors can access that. And then the final is the $100 contributor. And I would call that people that are kind of testing their way and seeing if they like us. But they're social, that's a social membership. You can come to any events. We have happy hours. We have teas sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And things like that. So yeah, those are the members. And then you asked about subsidies. We don't like turning anyone away.
Okay.
We actually have a subsidy fund. We ask that people contribute something, but we work with them to find a number that's comfortable for them.
If you're looking at the bottom of your screen, you can see the information that leads you to the phone number and the website to Penn's Village. And we're here in Philadelphia and just having a great time. And I tell you, when I think about what we do for seniors in terms of care, oftentimes we find ourselves out of our scope of practice connecting seniors to additional resources that oftentimes they really don't even know about that really exist. I mean, as I age myself, I want to stay in my house. I don't want to go to a lonely nursing home. If I don't want the red Jello, I want the green Jello. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to talk to somebody that understands the 70s and the 80s. I want socialization is so important. How do you reach new audiences to promote what you do for active seniors?
Oh, so some of my colleagues here, our volunteers, will share more about what we do to do that. But a big thing is we just try to partner with as many organizations working in aging as possible. We attend networking events. We go out to our civic associations and connect with them. We get the word out and try to be advocates and educators about aging issues and newsletters, and we table at a variety of different events that are happening. And then we also do some community outreach, working with some of our high rises or the Philadelphia Senior Center, and bringing them programs and activities in order to share who we are, but also to give back into the community.
Somebody just asked me, I just did an interview not long ago with Ensemble Arts, which is not far from here. The whole campus, the whole theater campus. And I was asked, how do you, really support the arts? And I say, the arts and theater is a unifier. It's not only multicultural, in some ways it's very intergenerational. And you see the interaction at the theater. When you think of seniors, sometimes people are under the misnomer that seniors only want to be around seniors.
Yeah.
Not the case, especially around the holiday times when you have, families visiting and traveling, that kind of a thing. So I always tell people too, especially young people, that if you have the time, make the time. If you're in the area, go check on grandma, go check on your grandfather, go check on the neighbor that you know might be alone or sick and shut in. It brings them up. And if you promise to bring the new baby by, you certainly better show up, because grandma will tell me the deal. Lindsay, you have a few members here today who can speak directly about their volunteer role in offering these programs and services. We're going to bring them in later, but for right now, I want to talk to Mark.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, you have over 40 years as a physical therapist. Thank you. But where are some of the programs, what are some of the programs the program committee plans?
I'll show you a list of what's coming up. We have a group called the Penn Village Players, which is a group that do a dramatic read and then present it to members. And we're doing It's a Wonderful Life, the radio show version, in December 17th. We also have a program called Mistakes People Make When Estate Planning. We have a program called Aging in Place coming up. We have a program called Welcome to the Flower Show coming up. We have How to Create a Cheese Board. We have happy hours once a month at various locations throughout the city. And if you go to Penn's Village website, pennsvillage.org, at the bottom of the first page is the event section. You can see all the events that are coming up in the following month.
One of the things I tell my clients and my families ongoing, not because I'm trying to burst a legal bill, but one of the best gifts you can give your family is end-of-life planning. Some people approach it like, oh, God, it's such a morbid conversation, but all of our stories are going to end at some point, and I think the best thing that you can give your family is a plan. What better way to celebrate your dash, your beginning and your end, to be able to kind of memorialize, what's going on. And then if you have assets, the best thing you could do is write down a plan. A lot of people don't even think about it, especially if you have multiple children, multiple layers of grandchildren, and nowadays, since people are living longer, they got great-grandchildren. A lot of people have, homes. We talk a lot of times about passing down generational wealth. And that's not always, in my opinion, financial. For instance, this is the time of year that I get into the kitchen. I like to bake. I'm an above average cook because I had the benefit of 4 grandmothers. I had both of my grandmothers and both of my great grandmothers into adulthood, right? Wow. Well, that's what happens when your mom starts young. But anyhow, the benefit of that is there's one thing, and I'm going to put this in your spirit, there's one thing to be able to these days be able to look at AI or pull something up on Google or pull something on the internet. But when you have somebody that has lived for a long period of time through that to give you a history, it is very important. So the read, I'm all about it. I love hearing the stories and talking about it. And I find myself talking to the younger generation about stories too. They look at me like, really, that happened? Like, yeah, we had payphones. We'll talk about it later. but I'm listening to what you guys do. It is have a place. How many are offered each month, and where do they take place, Raymond?
We have 3 to 4 programs a month. They take place here. They also take place on Zoom.
Okay.
And Independence IBX has a center at 19th and Market Street that's a big, they have meeting rooms and kitchens, and when we do cooking programs, we get a slot over there, and they do it for the community, and it's of no charge. So we have those multiple locations.
So interestingly enough, that was my next question. If you're not a member, can you attend, and how do you register? Non-members are allowed to attend 3 programs a year for free.
Okay. You can register online, and if you have difficulty with vision or hearing, you can also get in touch with the office, and they'll register you also.
All right, and then you're a volunteer with several different hats, clearly. A driver, a board member, a committee co-chair. What drives you to contribute to so much of your time, energy, and passion?
One thing that you discover when you retire is that you have to figure out what to do with your life different than work. And one of the things that I decided that I wanted to do was to get involved with people that were my age. And I wanted to stay connected to people in my age cohort. And one of the ways to do it, when I was doing the research, I found Penn's Village. And Penn's Village really's mission is to help people live independently in their own homes for as long as possible through volunteer activity. And I thought that was very important to me as well as others.
Wow. If you just tuned in, we're having a great conversation with leadership and members of the volunteer committee at the Penn's Village. We're going to take a quick break right now. We're going to come back and talk to more members and just discover what's going on at Penn's Village, river to river. Please do not go away.
Did you know?
It's growing again.
These caregiver deserts are everywhere. It's slowing down. It's almost stopping.
It's stopping right around Philadelphia.
What's happening on the ground?
It seems like Always Best Care is fighting back.
How?
Ride sharing, gift giveaways, job security, promotion opportunities, competitive pay.
That's amazing. I want to work there.
Then you should apply too. Join Team Green today.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Green. I'm a retired nurse, and Always Best Care takes care of me in my own home.
Hi, I'm Brian Green, the owner and CEO of Always Best Care. We service southeastern Pennsylvania and the entire state of Delaware.
Do you want them to know that I'm your real grandmother?
Yes, Chubby, that's the point.
Should I tell them the time when you were 7?
Love, no.
I could stay in my own house and get all the help that I need, and I tell you that all the time.
You see, I trust my people with my grandmother, and you can trust us with yours.
Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. We're sitting here at the Penn's Village, and we're having a great time. One of the few shows where we have our own listening audience right here in the conference room. So if you hear some background noise, it's the participation of the volunteers, and we're having fun. And as I always say during these shows, if I could just do the outtakes when we go off camera and come back, the conversations that we have are just explosive sometimes. But right now, I'm sitting here with Lauren Novositis. I get it correctly. Lauren has a background in healthcare and decided to get involved with Penn's Village as an opportunity to meet other residents who love living in the city. As a companion to villagers as well as an administrative volunteer, she welcomes the opportunity to assist people who want to stay in their homes and continue to enjoy everything living in the city has to offer. For her, it's been a better experience than she can ever imagine. And we're going to get into that in a minute. We also have Mr. Howard Weiner. Call him Howie. Howard Weiner is an assistant U.S. attorney with the Department of Justice in Camden, New Jersey for over 30 years. And before retiring, he handled cases such as racketeering, drugs, money laundering, counterfeiting, fraud, and child pornography. Big topic these days. He's been a volunteer with Penn's Village for 1 year, primarily as a driver for members needing to get to medical appointments or other errands. He has also been a program presenter to Penn's Village members on topics related to the law that are important for seniors to know and understand. And without further ado, let's unpack it. Lauren, describe what you do as a companion to villagers and how often you visit.
So I visit with the villager once a week, and our visits are usually about 2 hours.
Wow, what goes down, if you don't mind me asking?
Depends. If it's a nice day, we'll walk outside, walk through the neighborhood. If she needs to run errands, go to the CVS, we'll do that together. She has a really cute garden off her patio. We'll do some puttering in the garden. On days when we're inside, it's primarily we just make some tea and sit at her kitchen table and just chit-chat and talk.
Are y'all watching MeTV? Gunsmoke and Bonanza? Tell the truth.
In all, she doesn't even have a TV, so no TV involved. Yeah.
Wow, no TV involved, right? Okay. So what do you think villagers get out of the visit, and what does it mean to you?
I think she enjoys the nature of our relationship. When we do get together and talk, we'll either talk about things that happened over the past week or things that happened, throughout her lifetime. She's mentioned that she enjoys the flow of our conversations and that I actually am listening. So we're both sharing, and yeah, she appreciates being heard and having somebody listen.
With home care, we find ourselves oftentimes being a matchmaker. What does that mean? Oftentimes when we get assigned cases or requests for services, we try to dig deep into who the individual is. Were they a retired lawyer? Were they a retired administrator? Were they a teacher? Were they a government person? Do they like pets? Are they chatty Cathy? Or do they like reading novels and books? Does the Penn's Village take the same approach in matching people up?
Absolutely, yes. We usually put together a little bio of the person's interests and things, and then see if there's a volunteer that has similar interests, and we match them that way, yep.
And so does she have healthcare experience too, or?
Actually, yeah, she does.
You're an administrative volunteer. Explain what that entails.
So Penn's Village has one email and voicemail that takes in all the incoming calls and information. So one day a week I monitor from home remotely, but I'll monitor the email, the voicemail, and it's either existing members that are contacting us to ask for a ride to the doctors or a handy person to come to the house. So I'll take that request and send it out to our pool of volunteers, hoping that somebody can assist. And then we record those volunteer activities in our database so that we can keep track of metrics and everything that's going on that way. Some members don't have the computer savviness to sign up for some of our events.
Okay.
So they'll contact us and I'll register them for the event on the computer. And then we also get just people from the outside that are interested to learn more. And so we help return those calls and spread the word.
Do you find that it's helpful? And I'm saying this it's kind of a clarion call in some ways. If you're looking at this and you're trying to figure out Penn's Village, because I know that there are a lot of people that don't receive home care that could really benefit from a companion or an advocate, if you will, with Penn's Village. What is that visit like? Do you take notes, or do you guys have a review? Do you have to sometimes step in and talk to the doctor, don't pounce on them? Come on, give it to us, Lauren. Come on.
Well, I can't say from personal experience, but
Right.
Penn's Village does have volunteers that are labeled health pals.
Okay.
That will.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, they go through a vetting process, and then if they're approved, they become a health pal, and they can accompany our members to the doctor's appointments. Like I said, I haven't done that personally, so I don't know how much I can speak to it exact, but we do offer, Penn's Village does offer that service.
Okay. Howard, let's turn the conversation to you. Tell us about a few of your experiences driving members to their appointments and errands, and then what kind of relationships develop, and how have these activities benefited you as a volunteer?
Well, I volunteered as a driver, but I've learned quickly that it really is not just driving. What it is helping people navigate the world. So, for example, the first call I got was to help someone drive her to the Social Security office. But it turned out that really wasn't what it was about. It was about her wanting to get a real ID. And in order to get a real ID, you need a Social Security card, and you need a birth certificate, and you need this, and you need that. And this is a person who is a bright person. She's 82 years old. But not only does she not have a smartphone, she doesn't have a stupid phone. She doesn't have a computer. She doesn't have access to the internet. And years ago, you could call up the Social Security office and ask for information. Today, nobody answers the phone. Okay? Or you put on hold for 6 hours and then they disconnect you. So if you don't access the internet where the information is, you're in trouble. Okay? So how do you get a birth certificate? Well, I didn't know how to get a birth certificate, so I went on the internet and I researched it. Okay? How do you get a real ID? I went to the Penn website and I got a checklist of all these documents that you needed. And I showed it to her, and she was a bit stubborn. So she said, well, my friend got a real ID, and she only needed 2 of these. I said, you are not your friend. I said, this is the checklist. This is what you need, okay? And I said, and here's how we're going to get these things. So in the course, and she wanted to do all of this by May 6th, even though she doesn't drive. And I said, you know, there's a big rush of people because of that deadline. Why don't we wait? And she says, you don't know me. I do things on time. I said, okay. I said, but it's unlikely we are going to get this by May 6th because we started in early April. But we got a birth certificate. We got a Social Security card. We got a marriage license because her name changed, so you have to prove that you are who you say you are. And then we had to go to DMV, and due to a series of miracles, we got her the real ID by May 6th, okay? And now I'm helping another person. My friend said, you should open up a consulting service in getting a real ID. I said, yes, I could, but I don't want to. I'm retired, okay? So now I'm helping another woman who's visually impaired get a real ID, okay? I said, you know, do you really need this because you don't drive? And she said, well, I'd really like to fly somewhere, okay, to visit people, and I need a real ID. And I said, okay. So first you sort of find out what they need and why, and then you help them. So in her situation, her first name is Carol on her birth certificate, C-A-R-O-L, but she said when I was a teenager, I liked putting an E on the end of it, okay? So I changed my name to Carol, okay, C-A-R-O-L-E. Well, according to the rules, if your name on the birth certificate is not exactly the same as your name now, you can't get a real ID, okay?
Wow.
So, technically, you're supposed to go to court and get a court order to change your name. That's ridiculous, okay? So I warned her. I said, I think we're going to skate because every document you've shown me, Social Security Administration says you're Carol with an E, everything says, because even her prior driver's license is Carol with an E, okay? So I said, I think you're going to skate. You don't look like a terrorist. You don't look like somebody who's changing their name to avoid, to commit a fraud on somebody. And her last name is very unusual, okay? So if she really wanted to change her name to become a fugitive, she would have picked some other name, okay? So I said to her, I think we're going to be okay, but I'm just warning you, this could be a problem, okay? Right. And it's really about navigating the world. In one case, a person doesn't use the internet. In the other case, the person's visually impaired, and even if she could use the internet, it would be an issue. Okay, and then yesterday I spent over an hour because when I went to visit her, she showed me this document from the City Revenue Department which said she owed $20. Okay, it didn't explain why. Okay, she said she's gotten a number of phone calls bugging her about this. So it took me a while to figure out why she owed $20. It turns out she didn't owe $20. The City Revenue Department is incompetent, and they did something wrong. And so I luckily found the right person, and they said they would fix it. And then I told her what the story was. So, you know, even for a person with sight who's not elderly, fixing this was what we call a BPIA, a big pain in the ass. Okay? but you know, I helped her, and I have also learned that, you know, we know about something called the digital divide, which, when it started, we're using that term, it was about people in the heartland, in rural areas, maybe people in poor areas in a city who don't have access to the internet. Okay, but the digital divide is also generational. Okay?
Very much so.
My mother doesn't know how to turn the computer on. Okay, and so we're talking about people who are not computer literate, and the world has changed, like I said, and if you aren't computer literate, you don't have access to information that you need to do things. And this is a significant problem. I'm no computer genius, okay? I know how to use the computer. My wife's a techno-weenie. When I run into trouble, I contact her, and she figures it out, okay? So together, you know, we can figure out most things. And then I know other techno-weenies, so if we can't figure it out, I call them. So I've learned that this is an issue, and it's a significant issue. And so it's not really just driving. I'm like a consultant.
I could totally see that. You know, it's interesting as you're talking, I'm thinking of my own personal experiences. Intergenerational, people have asked me what my take on AI is, for example. And I always say it's intergenerational. My younger staff loves it. My older staff, I got to throw myself in that ring, we struggle. we struggle with it. And you know, I'll tell you a quick funny story. My mother called me the other day. She was hot as a tamale pepper. She has a warranty on her washing machine that she's had for years. And tell you how long she's had it, it was a Sears warranty. Well, Sears has been going for how long?
100 years.
Right, so, but she had a warranty. Some other company bought the warranty. But in order to access or even talk to anybody, you had to get through the voice response system. And then they had this whole AI-generated kind of AI agent. So we don't think we talk with an accent, but she absolutely does. And so when you're talking to AI, you know, you could be on the phone with AI for 20 minutes trying to say "are" or "the" or something like that. And they read it back to you, and you got to press 1. Is that what you meant? And you're going back there. She was so angry. And I said, Mom, you know, you had that washing machine. I don't think that washing machine owes you anything. Why don't we just consider going on down to the store and that, no, we're gonna get that. I bought this warranty, blah, 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 blah. So I said, okay. We had to figure this out. But to your point, the digital divide is really interesting. My mother doesn't do a lot on the computer. My grandmother's on social media. And so the interesting dynamic there, as I'm thinking about it, is when I post things, if I've been to a concert or something like that, my grandmother say, well, you know, I like Mary J. Blige. Nobody thought to invite me. It's like, oh, here we go. I said, you like Mary J. Blige? And she said, yeah, and I like Earth, Wind, and Fire, too.
Miserable grandson.
Like, pow, pow, zing. But anyway, what topics have your program covered, and what stands out from any one of them, you know, when you think about it?
Well, when I joined, I learned that they have a speakers committee. So I talked to Mark Raymond, because he runs the committee. And I said, where do you get your speakers from? And he said, well, some of them are college professors, different things. We try to have programs that appeal to seniors. So I told him what my background was. And I said, I know about the criminal justice system, and I know about legal-related topics. So I said, so I have in mind these 5 different talks I can give. Some I've given before, some I haven't. And he said, well, can you summarize them? So I said, okay. So I sent them the summary. The committee met the next day. He says, we like all of them. We signed you up. So and he signed me up for the next 6 months. So I had a date each month, roughly, for the next 6 months where I had to give a talk. And so I had to prepare for these talks, even when I had given them before. And they would be in this room, and they would be publicized, and people would show up. And the first talk I gave was on plea bargaining. The title was Plea Bargaining, How to Do It the Right Way and How to Do It the Wrong Way. And when I started out, I told people, you don't know anything about plea bargaining. You know why? Because we don't tell you anything. Prosecutors don't tell anybody how they plea bargain, because then the defense attorneys would understand how to take advantage of that, okay? So I took them behind the scenes, and I explained how we do such a thing, okay? The next talk I gave was on jury duty. I think that the court system does a terrible job telling people what to expect on jury duty. So the name of the talk basically was, what the hell happens when you're on jury duty? Why do you sit around on your butt for hours and nobody tells you anything? So I took people behind the scenes and explained to them about cases and trials and how you get picked and why you get thrown off the jury and all of this stuff.
I get thrown off every time.
Exactly. Okay, well, we can talk later about why. Then I gave 2 talks that had nothing to do with the criminal justice system. One was called The 4 Documents. It was basically wills, powers of attorney, healthcare directives, living wills, because studies show that half of baby boomers don't even have any of these documents.
It's a thing.
And you need these documents.
It's a thing.
And I'm no expert in this, but I helped do my father's estate. I helped my mother with the 4 documents. I know enough to talk for an hour. So I typed up an outline. I gave it to my friend who's an estates lawyer. I said, make sure I'm not saying anything wrong here. He said, no, it's all correct. He added a few things to it. And I had about 30 people show up. And, you know, and I gave him the outline. And I said, if you don't have these documents or you need to change them, read this thing so that when you go to the lawyer, you're prepared. And you'll probably save money because the lawyer won't have to ask you as many questions. And you'll be prepared to do what you need to do. Okay? And I emphasize that even if you have the 4 documents, circumstances change. You write a will, now you lost a child, or you want to disinherit a child, or you want to add in a charity that wasn't there before. Okay? I said, so you need to change it. All right? And then the last talk I gave, also had a lot of people, was how to avoid becoming a fraud victim. Because older people are targeted by scammers.
All the time.
Yes, for two reasons. One is they're the people that have money. So when they asked Willie Sutton why he robbed banks, he said because that's where the money is. Okay? And also because as you age, you cognitively have issues, which scammers can take advantage of. So I had given this talk before, but many years ago, but things have changed because of AI and because of something called social engineering, which is convincing people that you are calling from the bank when you're not calling from the bank, okay? So I started, when Mark scheduled me, this was the last talk, so I started collecting articles in the media about the different kinds of scams so I could bring myself up to date so that when I gave the talk, it wasn't just from 20 years ago, it was all the most recent scams. So I learned about things too. And I have friends who are techno-weenies, so I talk to them about this. And one of the best things that the Justice Department, we used to get training all the time, sexual harassment, all this stuff. But every year they made us take a course in computer security. And it was the best thing because I learned how to avoid becoming a fraud victim through the internet. And I conveyed some of these lessons to the people. So I like public speaking. I like public service. I'm a good teacher. I developed groupies. Someone would come to my first talk, and they came to all the rest of my talks. So they got front row seats. So, I've been talking to Mark about maybe something else I could give. And some of these talks I'll give again, like the 4 documents. It's timeless. I could give it in another 6 months. Some people couldn't come, so they'll come to the next one. How to avoid becoming a fraud victim is timeless. So I'll repeat some of these things. I think our speaker series is good. Sometimes I see things I want to go to, and it's not just social, it's educational.
You know, we could unpack this and talk, to nauseam about it, but it is, like you said, timeless. And a lot of people reap the benefits of it, and it gives you a chance to really start to ask more questions that you probably didn't know. A lot of people don't know what you don't know, so you don't know what to ask. And anyway, we're going to continue the conversation. Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Lauren. We're going to continue the conversation and talk more to some more volunteers, and we're going to talk to the outreach specialists. Please do not go away. We'll be right back.
Yummy.
Yummy.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting out of this nightmare. No, 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 no.
It's okay, Miss Orwell. You're safe at home. You were just having a bad
Nightmare. Oh, thank goodness, Julia. I love my always best care.
When it's time for your loved one to move into a new home, it's tough to know where to find answers, and you may end up in a web of defeat. Don't worry, we can help. At Always Best Care, we understand your needs, and our trained experts can arrange senior living community tours, provide guidance on care, budgetary considerations, and help educate you on the amenities of each location. Think of us as your complimentary personal concierge service. So when it's time to find a new home for your loved one, we make it easy for you to focus on what's really important. Contact us today.
Did you know? Come on, listen here. Did you know?
Welcome back to the Did You Know Show. We have had a lot of fun, and it's interesting, as I always say, that when we're off camera, the outtakes and what goes down is so interesting. You learn a lot about people, even though you have your bio in front of you. You still engage and find out what's going on. And right now, we're talking with Kamara Jordan and Judith Sachs. Kamara is the part-time outreach specialist for Penn's Village. She retired as an elementary school teacher and an administrator for fundraising and philanthropy for the United Way of Southern Pennsylvania. Before joining Penn's Village, she served as a constituent services and office manager for Councilwoman Cindy Bass. Among her own volunteer activities, she's a volunteer coordinator for the Community Education Fitness Network, for which she recruited Penn's Village members to join in her volunteer efforts. And also, we have Judith Sachs, who reminds me of one of my elementary school teachers. I kept telling her that. As soon as I seen her, I was like, did you teach school? But in effect, she is a member of Penn's Village for 12 years and assists in outreach efforts for the organization. She brings her programs into the community to serve those not yet formally affiliated with Penn's Village. Her latest project for Penn's Village members is the Ukemi Project, an intergenerational program between the organization and the Zhang Sa Martial Arts School, teaching elders to fall and recover safely. She creates community and togetherness by offering innovative ways that elders and those with movement disorders can reconnect with their bodies and find new ways of exploring their space. Her goal is to get everyone moving, whether in a chair or across the floor. Without further ado, let's get to it. Kamara, you've been with Penn's Village for a few years now, working with seniors who live in senior apartment buildings, 2 in South Philadelphia, 1 in Center City, as well as South Philadelphia Senior Center. What are some of the programs offered to them?
So, from my experience at the United Way, I learned how important it is for an organization that is trying to make inroads into a community to actually do that by making themselves present. And so I was given free rein by the former director, Jay Neely, who brought me on board to go for it.
Okay.
And thanks to the help of Sherry Hill from CEFN and the director of the Philadelphia Senior Center, we sat down and we looked at what is in this community, particularly because the focus was to reach out to the Black community to help to increase and improve that engagement in Penn's Village overall. I said, well, where are they? Where do they live? And so we found ourselves at the Scottish Rite Tower and the Scottish Rite House.
Hey, shout out to Scottish Rite. We have some clients over here. It's always a good time over there, by the way. Keep going.
and Casa Farnese, and just to make friends with those directors and let them know about Penn's Village, because Penn's Village is a dynamic organization, but it's a best kept secret in many pockets of this area. And so we brought in some activities, because the other thing you don't do is you don't seek to recruit first without showing people who you are. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm glad Judith is here today, so that she can tell you a little more about what she does. But she was one of the pioneers in going with me into these apartment buildings and presenting activities. And at the same time, having space and having a table where we could provide information about Penn's Village. So it's a twofer. So with Penn's Village, you get to meet wonderful people like this, and our own Dr. Tanya Gio-Novelli, who is with Temple University.
Okay.
In the area of cognition and neuroscience. And she loves going with me out to these places to not only bring what she does, it's a twofer, and educate them about their brains and their mental cognition, but also simultaneously show off Penn's Village.
You know, I agree with you. The Did You Know show, in essence, is built on connecting people to home, community, and business resources that you ordinarily wouldn't know about. And Penn's Village, in some ways, is still, even though we're evangelizing the brand right now, and I'll invite you to look at the bottom of the screen for their phone number and their website, you're right. In some ways, in some pockets of the community, I look where you put it, you presented it. In some ways, it is still a secret. You know, people don't know. And you're also spot on, because when we were talking about community outreach, seniors have got to trust you. And but the good thing about seniors, in my experience, is you kind of always know where you stand. There's no put on. You're either in or you're out. There's no, I'm going to fake you out and wear the mask. They either like you or they don't. And if they don't like you, they tell you why, usually, if you get the opportunity. But they'll also ask honest questions, and it forces you to really be, as you said, and I didn't miss it, present. And it's very important to be present. And so with that, when you are in the community, you typically bring others to help you provide programs. Tell us about the Temple University students and what programs they provide for the seniors.
Oh, my goodness. And they're in demand. We opened up a can of worms with that one. So the win-win, and I love this about Penn's Village and its members, there are some brilliant, brilliant, brilliant members that the people just constantly inspire me. So, zeroing in on the Temple students. So, Dr. Tanya, she works with undergraduate students who are learning about geriatric health and the whole experience of aging. And for them, it's a win-win to go in a cohort or come out of the camp, off campus, with her as a cohort and go to various places. And so we try to make sure we stay within, it's a win-win,
right.
Penn's Village, so that, and she can do her own outreach elsewhere. But when I'm networking with her, it's all about what communities also simultaneously align with our catchment area. So they come with their expertise in cell phones.
A big deal.
Yes. And so we've had cell phone clinics.
Mm-hmm.
And they will come on the Broad Street line or whatever bus can get them in the corridor, you know, and they'll come to the various places that will arrange for them to work with the seniors around their phones. And I think one of the most rewarding things, we were at Scottish Rite Tower, and there was a gentleman who came into the community room with his phone and said, I want to be able to listen to John Coltrane on my phone. And when he left with that ability, he learned about YouTube, they downloaded YouTube on his phone, and that he could play John Coltrane on his phone. I said, yeah, that's what it's all about.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about connecting young people with older people. And again, that's a large part of what we do in matchmaking, and it's kind of what the world, in a lot of ways, from a positive perspective, has become this intergenerational vibe. It has really become really something that I look forward to, because initially when seniors are, as I said earlier in the show, are a little bit hesitant about taking a young person, because you know, no knock on young people, but they move very different than some of the seniors. Their thought process is different. The rudimentary of protocol is different. But when they get into each other's space and they start to coexist, and then it works. One of the wins in that, and it's a blessing and a curse for me, is that, you know, when we partner a senior with a young person, and that young person, they get used to that young person. And I think to some degree we all get used to routine and protocol. But when that young person is not available, they want to take off or something like that. They're like, well, I don't want nobody else. I want Jane to come back. I want that person. Jane understands me. We get that all the time. And I just think to myself, a year ago, you didn't want a young person. Now, now you have it.
They bonded.
Now they're bonded. Same thing if I'm going to keep it, like the kids say, keep it 100% real, keep it 100% real. We have the same kind of energy with sometimes immigrants that don't speak really good English. And people will tell you, you know, some of my seniors say, well, I want somebody who can speak English, blah, 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 blah. But your needs are so routine that when they get this immigrant that comes in there and they put the cell phone away and they go right to work and they're really focused on the task and the care of that they're providing, same thing. Well, if Rosalina can't come, I don't want nobody else. Well, who's going to give you a bath? She got to take a vacation now. You know, she got to take a vacation. But it's that kind of synergy that happens organically. That, you know, like before, it was this whole paradigm that, oh, I don't want a young person, or I don't want an immigrant, I don't want this. But as you said in the beginning, when you do community outreach, you have to be present, and they look for consistency. Don't promise something and don't oversell it. That's what I've learned in the senior committee. Say what it is. You know, manage the expectations right from the door, because if you oversell it, then you're going to lose them, and then you'll lose engagement. I want to ask you, one of the professionals who assist you, Judith Sachs, is with us today. I can't wait to get this conversation, because I want to know if she does some kung fu. You know, she's out here doing martial arts.
She does, look out.
Let's hear how she has worked with these seniors who, you know, you start off telling us, you know, you took Judith out there, or she took you, you know, tell us about that relationship, and then we'll start asking Judith, you know, her engagement.
Sure. Well, Judith can truly speak for herself, and I look forward to hearing her share because her history is fascinating. But we wanted to do something a little different. So yes, the students come and they do the cell phones and whatnot, and that's now being requested, and that's a good thing. But we wanted to do something a little different, and Judith is not shy about sharing who she is and what she brings to the table.
Okay.
And so we met, we talked when I first came on board, and she has a lot of great programming ideas. And it was just a little slightly overwhelming. I'm trying to still understand Penn's Village and whatnot. And but I love the idea of movement, and I know how important it is.
Okay.
You know, and so contacted again one of the what we did Casa Farnese and we did Scottish Rite Tower, because one of the things is win-win again. The directors of activities of these homes, they always want someone to come in and bring something meaningful that doesn't have a sales pitch attached to it. Okay, so we are selling something. We're selling Penn's Village.
Right.
But that's all in the exposure of the organization. So when Judith was interested in sharing what she brings in terms of movement, dance, exercise, and learning how to fall, and I'll let her elaborate on that, that was so embraced by the director of that particular, of really two of the places that we've gone. They really wanted that to happen. And so, pick the date, pick the time, here we come.
Judith, as a volunteer with Penn's Village, working alongside Kamara, what various movement programs have you offered to seniors in the community, and what has been the response?
Well, we decided together that one of the things we wanted to do in community was not just be social and sit around and have a cup of tea and a cookie, but we wanted to get people up and moving and touching each other.
Okay.
And we know that since COVID, people have been so isolated, and actually our previous Surgeon General said that isolation and lack of touch are one of the things that make people decline in all ages, but certainly for elders. So I'm a certified Dance for Parkinson teacher and a Matter of Balance teacher, and I wanted to get everyone up and moving to music that they felt comfortable with. So whether it was Coltrane or what else did we play? I don't know, some of the...
I love that Irish piece you did. What is that?
Oh, I guess
you
we
have
did.
To, yeah, you start out slow and then you go faster.
Yeah. But we had big band music. We had Aretha. We had Charlie Parker. I don't know what we were doing. But luckily, Spotify gives us the opportunity to just pick and choose a playlist.
Okay.
And when I see people's faces light up, I know I have touched something. So we had a dance class, and dance means you can dance in your chair, you can dance with a walker, you can dance with a cane, or sometimes I have people moving with hiking poles, two canes.
Okay.
They can dance with one another, they can dance by themselves, and there are always snacks. We always make sure
Snacks are
that
important.
snacks happen afterward. Right.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
So you're about to begin a new intergenerational program for Penn's Village on senior falls and how to recover safely.
Yes.
What do you hope the results will be, and do you expect to offer it in other seniors in the community?
So I collaborated with the Palobolas Dance Company last year.
Okay.
They are a company based in Connecticut, but they are international. And they've been around since the 1970s, and what's unusual about their movement is that they're always falling and rolling and jumping on one another. And anyway, during COVID, I noticed that their education teacher was teaching a balance class, so was I, on Zoom.
Okay.
So the two of us got together, and when I work with couples who have Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's fall a great deal, sometimes 16, 17, 20 times a day.
Oh, wow.
So I want people to learn to fall my background is in dance, but also in martial arts.
Okay.
And I want the person who's living with somebody who has some mobility issues to be able to work with them on the floor or in a chair or getting out of a bed or the shower when they're slippery and wet. And I want them not to hurt themselves. So it's a mutual learning how to get down, get up, turn around, etc. So I have now partnered with the Jiangsa School here in Philadelphia. They train little kids up to probably black belt. You could be 50 and be a black belt.
Okay.
But what we're doing right now is we're doing an elder class. We just did our first one last Saturday.
Okay.
We had 15 people getting on the floor and rolling, and most of them they had my color hair. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right.
And what we're doing is working with baby steps, teaching them to walk backwards in a circle, teaching them to sit on the mat, usually using some support, like the base of a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they're sitting, getting them to roll forward, back, side to side, etc. Next month, we'll teach them how to get up again. But everybody had a really good time. Everybody felt safe. And you were talking about the intergenerational part of this. Our goal in 2026 is we're going to take some of the little kids, maybe 8 to 12-year-olds.
Okay.
And what we're going to do, since these people are not their grandparents or their great-grandparents, they're not going to ask them, did you finish your homework? What do you want to be when you grow up? We're going to have these kids and the elders work together on getting to the ground and getting up. We're going to teach children how to explain to elders step by step. Here is a chair. There is the floor. Here's how we can very safely move from one place to another and back up again. So we're hoping that it's an intergenerational swap of compassion, empathy, fun, laughter, and snacks.
You know, this is what happens when you have a good group of people that are very well engaged. The time goes so quickly. We've had a great time talking to all of the volunteers and the leadership at the Penn's Village. It's at the bottom of your screen. Why wouldn't you want to get involved? If you know a senior that could benefit from the outreach, from the programs, from the resources, certainly tell them about it. This is the end of the show. I'll see you guys next time. You can check me out on 107.9 on Saturdays at 8:30. The Did You Know Show is brought to you by Always Best Care. Check us out at teamgreenabc.com. Thanks to all of my Penn Villagers. And we'll see you next time. Peace and light.
Did you know he'll help you understand? Did you know always a right-hand man? Did you know he's gonna make it clear? Did you know? Come on, listen here.